Earlier in the year, the National Bureau for Statistics published a new report, the December 2023 Cost of a Healthy Diet Report. In that report, it was stated that an average of 786 Naira was needed by an adult to have a healthy diet in a day. Honestly, when I first saw that amount, I was quite taken aback. A lot of questions ran through my mind. I wondered, is it in Nigeria? What market exactly did they go to? How did they gather this data? And how come we are coming up with such, in my own opinion at the time, such a ridiculous amount? 786 Naira. Is it for one meal? Or are you really saying for the day? So I took some time and I asked questions. This report is not necessarily for individuals or families to plan their diets or to plan their budgets. It is actually for the government, for our government to know how to plan to ensure that the population have a healthy diet. Okay, makes sense, right? Yeah. So, but I was still concerned about the data gathering process. I'm still quite skeptical about how they went about getting the food prices for each food group that came to 786 Naira per day. But I'm not going to dwell there, right? Let us assume that this is actually the correct amount, national average, because the highest was in Ekiti State, where we had over 1,000 Naira to have the cost of a healthy diet per day for an adult. But let's use the national average of 786 Naira per day for an adult. If you have a healthy diet with this amount every day for 30 days, it comes to 23,850 Naira. So the question I began to ask myself is, what is our minimum wage in Nigeria? The minimum wage, federal minimum wage, is I think 33,000 Naira. Some states pay 35,000 Naira per month. So if the minimum wage is 33,000 Naira per month, and to have a healthy diet, you have to spend 23,850 Naira in a month, what's left for this individual to take care of their other basic needs? Remember, this cost of a healthy diet doesn't include the cost of transportation to the market to get the food stuff. It doesn't include the cost of preparing the meal. So if an individual has spent over 80% of their monthly income on food, what is left to do other things, to even get drinking water, to get good housing, which is rent, transportation? As a nutritionist, a public health nutritionist at that, I'm quite concerned. And that is why I think this is a good place to advocate for an increase in the minimum wage. Sometimes our politicians do not understand how critical and how important it is for the nutritional health of our population not to be toyed with. Our government needs to make sure that every Nigerian has a healthy meal at least once a day. In fact, I'm looking forward to the new report, the updated report, maybe for January or February 2024. As of now, food inflation is over 30%. So we cannot keep having a minimum wage that doesn't even provide the barest minimum for our working population and their families. if we're thinking of growing our economy, our GDP, then we need to invest in the nutritional health of our population. And I think it needs to start with increasing the minimum wage. While the government works towards improving food production and access to healthy foods, one of the quick wins, one of the things they can do immediately is to look for ways to ensure that income of our people, minimum wage, can be increased. I do not have an amount. They will have to do their calculations based on the income of the country and where we are financially at the moment. But I thought it was important to raise this issue, that even if I do not agree, right, with the amount that was published, 796 Naira to have a healthy meal in a day, using that amount to even project is not feasible for a lot of adults. So you find out that people compromise on food. Many people eat only once a day because they cannot even afford 1,000 Naira a day for their feeding. Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done fast. We say we are concerned about growing our GDP. We're so focused on growing our GDP. And if we want to grow our GDP, we need to increase productivity, right? Yeah. To increase productivity, you need a productive and healthy population. So, our government needs to pay attention to the nutritional health of the population. Then, we can have more healthy adults who are ready and willing to contribute to the growth of our economy as a nation. Thank you.